Shalom. I'm start by giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Arachakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the full elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And this is getting bad. It's not looking too good for these young so-called black women. You know, these younger generation, Generation Z black women. That is the second incident within a month where Eve gets caught up with her lover, an Edomite, a Brad, or whatever you want to call him, an Idumean, and starts off as a love interest, and then it turns tragic. Second incident with another so-called young black woman. And this is probably going to become a trend, because it seemed like that spirit is jumping from Edomite to Edomite. Now, we in these days where nobody's to be trusted. Yahushai said, because lawlessness or iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So it's at this point where you really can't trust anyone. I mean, of course, us among the brotherhood, only the brotherhood and those close to us are the only ones we can trust. But out there in that world, it's dangerous. We're definitely in perilous times. And Eve still ain't learned her lesson. And, her parents, which usually, it's the mom that raises them. And, Eve, she's not going to do what's best in the interest of their child, because they're too busy in the world doing them. Can't take this time out to, teach their sons and their daughters that nobody's your ally. We don't have allies in this kingdom. All right. And who's our number one enemy? She's not going to go that far, because she's trained up within this society to obey who's ever in power. And Esau, he's been in power for the last half a century. So she's not going to go against the grain. She's going to usually teach her daughter that if you get with one of them, you pretty much just made it. All right, you're well off. You hit the jackpot, so to speak. But they don't never tell them that this is what comes with that. So there's another incident. We know about the incident a few weeks back where you had a young so-called black woman in Milwaukee. She was in a relationship with an Idumean, a devil. And she went missing, and they ended up discovering her members severed from her body, 3 different parts. All right. And it was tragic, but like the scriptures say, whoever perished being innocent, and where were the righteous cut off. These type of things been happening for years, but they just can't get it. So you really can't feel too much bad for them. All right. Now the scriptures tell you this, and you already know where I'm going. I'm going to start with this one. Let's go to Sirach 12 and verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Esau is our number one enemy. All right. He he sees both the male and the female counterpart as an enemy, but he's not threatened by the female counterpart as he is with the male. So he'll get close to the female to undermine the men. But it's at the point now where the men, I mean, I'm talking about Jake, they moved on from the so-called black woman. So this is pretty much what she is willing to take. And these Edomites, they don't really rock with Eve like that, but they'll show a little interest, just for the sake of, their fetish, pleasure. But they don't usually take Eve serious. And then sometimes, a spirit of vengeance gets on them, a serial killer demon gets on them, and they start taking them out. They'll take them on a vacation somewhere and then kill them wherever they went, and then leave their body in that country, for her to be missing. And then they come back to the States like ain't nothing happened. These type of things been going on for a minute. But Eve is that desperate. So not only have you made enemies with your own men, so they're not in the picture to protect you. Now your lover, E, he's showing you his true colors, that he really ain't with you like that. He actually despises you just like he despises the men. But he uses you to get at the men. So she trusts, they are groomed up to trust their enemy because he's the one in power. He provides them with, benefits. He gives them their little opportunities. He exalts them over their own men and make them feel like their men are not to be valued. She put all this poison. He puts all this poison in her head to look down upon her men, to not value, family, building with her husband, nation building. That's not on the agenda when it comes to the so-called black woman that's being groomed and raised in this society. So they look at these Edomites, even if they're bum status, even if they're just some regular old dudes, and they lust over these dudes because all they see is power. So I don't feel anything when they get with these Idumeans. You get what you get. The scriptures say, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right, this is what the scriptures tell you. All right. You can't trust a snake, because a snake, a snake will never deviate from its nature. A snake is always going to be cunning. It's always going to slither. And you don't think that it'll ever bite you if you get too close to it? But that's what these young Eves had to figure out for themselves. It says, though he humbled himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Meaning his true spirit, his true nature will always show, even when he tries to disfigure himself. When he tries to disguise himself, like he's just some caring, humanitarian, humble guy. All right. They know how to play their role. I don't know if y'all seen that movie Fear that came out back in the 90s with Kiefer Sutherland and Reese Witherspoon. It's a pretty good movie. But he they showed in that film, the villain character played by Kiefer Sutherland. He was a straight up killer. He was basically he would be on the freeway and he would prey on females that if they caught a flat or if their car broke down, and he would spot them and he would pull up, trying to give them a lift, trying to give them a hand, trying to be generous, but he was actually preying on them. And he had victims, and it's like the Lord is raising up that spirit now, where you got men that are just going around and taking out these women. Because you women, you've been too careless in this society. And now, things are starting to crumble. That's why we always bring that out in Isaiah the 32nd chapter. You women that are at ease, many days and years shall you be troubled. But, these women in the world, they out there on their own. They're moving on their own. They don't have that guidance. They don't have protection. They don't have instruction. And they damn sure are not circumspect. They just got their nose in the air and they just wallowing around in pleasure. And they don't never sense the dangers coming towards them. But at least under a man, it's just a little different. So this is what they got to deal with. All right. So I'm gonna jump down to verse 13. It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? Like them wild animal tamers and people that be getting close to wild animals like Esau. Esau does that all the time, and that's why these animals stay attacking his ass, because even the wild beasts know that his spirit ain't upright. And the spirit of vengeance get on them wild animals, and they even tear his ass up, male or female, whether it's a shark attack, a bear attack, a lion in the wild. But getting close to an Edomite, especially as a Jake, you're no different. You're doing the same thing. Why would you do that to yourself? You're in danger when you get close to your enemy like that, especially on an intimate level. I know, on the male side, because, brothers say that, hey, get with these other women. We are allowed to, if, we're not given over to, serving their gods and idols and partaking in their culture and whatnot. But even as a male, you can't get caught up in, dealing with, these, especially the Edomite women, and it's up to you, as an individual man to do what you want to do. But I'm just saying that just, being circumspect, you can't really trust all these Edomites out there, especially the Edomite woman as well. Because these Edomite women, they'll be quick to set you up in a hurry too, especially if things don't go her way. So it's just as dangerous getting with an Edomite woman as it is for a Jake woman to get with an Edomite man. Because they're still an enemy at the end of the damn day. So you got to be careful, even if you trying to get you a Edomite concubine on this side. All right. Jake be trying to get married with him and all this other stuff. You heard about that one Jake in Florida. I guess he was with I think she was an IG model or whatever. She was an Edomite, and they were in a relationship. And they were in there, I don't know if it was a condo or whatever, but she stabbed him to death. Stabbed him up in that room and left the scene, and she didn't show no emotion or anything. So that's how it go. Because naturally we're We two polar opposites. We're enemies, man. We've been enemies since the garden. The Lord said he would place that enmity between thy seed and the woman, talking to the serpent. And it trickled down generations until they came back reincarnated, all right, as Cain and Abel, and then eventually as Jacob and Esau. And that dynamic has never changed. So why trust them now? See, at least in the kingdom, if we take their women as concubines, they're not going to be a threat because they don't have any power. All right. They ain't going to be able to do nothing against us. But right now, since they're in power, it's a little dangerous. I don't trust them. I'll get with a Moabite or a woman of the northern tribes before I trust the Edomite. That's just me, though. You know, I'm not speaking for every brother out there, but that's just me. But even going back to our women, there's been way more domestic situations, all right, where the woman discovered dead in a relationship with an Edomite, the black woman and the Edomite man. It's been going on for a while. So that should tell y'all something. But y'all stuck between a rock and a hard place because look at what you've become. You didn't ruin that relationship with your own men. Men, Jake, they ain't messing with you like that. All you could turn to is the Pookies, or these racist ass Edomites that see you as a fetish. That's pretty the only options that Eve got right now. Because she did it to herself. I just saw another incident where Eve in Baltimore, she got chased by her ex-dude, and she had a restraining order on him, and he didn't even care. And he chased her down in the apartment complex, and then he just pulled out a heat, and he took her out, man. Popped her 4 times in her chest. She was out. She was out of there, man. So judgment is rising up on these women. That's why it's important for you women to humble down. You know, because you've been proud, and pride goes before destruction. You don't even want to sit down and understand the plight of your men and why they're actually leaving and going overseas and going after the other women besides you, because you still ain't figured it out. And now you get met with spirits of vengeance. It says, verse 14, it says, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with them in his sins, who will pity? So nobody's going to really feel bad about this. Now, you already know what the men are going to be saying. You know? So Eve did this to herself, man. But this is a little short clip. It's like 48 seconds long. This is in Monroe, Louisiana.
Breaking news now. Police say a man has just confessed to killing and dismembering a missing teenager from New Iberia. 29-year-old Anthony Pierce Holland Jr. of West Monroe is being held tonight without bond. He's accused in the brutal murder of 19-year-old Cheryl Turner of New Iberia.
And I look like a raggedy-ass Edomite. I know you sisters that are watching this, I know y'all don't find him remotely attractive. But down there, the white boys can get whoever they can get whatever black woman they want down there. That's just how it is. They ain't got to put in no effort. They ain't got to, because usually Eve doesn't put Esau under the same standards that she puts her own men. You got to have way more, you got to meet way more requirements as a Jake. Her own men. She puts him under that standard versus her enemy. He ain't got to do nothing. He was a raggedy ass looking Edomite. He looked like something was wrong, but she was dealing with him. A little young, naive girl. She was young. All right, and her of course it goes back to your parenting, your home training, who brought you up. More than likely a single Eve. Had she had some type of structure and a father at home, I'm pretty sure she would have been taught better than that.
Her remains were found in the Washita River in Catahoula Parish back in January. She was reported missing a month earlier. Now, in court records that were filed late today, police say Holland and Turner had a relationship, and he admitted to killing her during a sex act. Afterwards, Holland reportedly told police that he dismembered her body and put it into bags that he dumped into the river. After Turner's torso was discovered, authorities say they used DNA to identify her as the murder victim.
So he freaked off on her, and then he just killed her and sliced her in pieces. No different than what happened to the other, the young Eve in Milwaukee, man. So hey, this is a growing trend. This happened consecutively. You Eves, you still don't want to get in line. You still don't want to repent. You still don't want to humble down. This is what you got to look forward to, or you got to deal with Pookie and Ray Ray and Thug in them. Come on, man. And according to the scriptures, this is the reason why you had fathers that basically mediated marriages between their daughters and whoever was going to marry the daughter, because the father would have the sense. He would have the discernment to know who's suitable for his daughter. He would marry his daughter off to somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that's valuable. All right, so that's what. Let me get this real quick. Sirach 7 and where is it at? Sirach 7 and verse 24, it says, "As thou daughters, have a care of their body." You got to watch over them closely, right? Because, you leave them to themselves, right? If they're growing up under a woman, she's really left to herself. Because the woman, she got to go out there and work for this devil. And she ain't really got time with her daughter like that. Okay? And then when she come home from work, she got to catch up on her reality TV and soap operas or whatever. Be on social media. So pretty much the society is raising her daughter. She's walking through the house with, inappropriate clothing. And then you allowing her to go outside in those clothes because, you just into yourself. I've seen a lot of careless mothers among Eve. I've seen that. They don't care what she got on. They don't care what type of little dudes she bringing through the household. But that's not happening when a man is an austere man is under that roof. It says, "Have a care of their body and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding." And that's going to be a man of your own nation. Okay. And he's to be a man of understanding, meaning, he has his wits. All right. He knows how to make wise decisions and judgments. He knows the scriptures. He fears the Most High, like that kind of man. Not just to a nigga because, he's tall and, he's handsome and, because you leave it to a young woman, she's gonna choose a mate based off of her attraction for him and also her emotions. She's not gonna be logical when choosing a man. She's not gonna, judge his character, his intelligence. All these little young chicks, they be looking for the same dudes. And that's why he'll be running through all of them. So this type of thing wouldn't happen if they had their fathers in the household. And, you can make the argument, well, the father, he this and that, he wasn't shit. He left her. He left the kids. Yeah, Jake, Jake is under that curse. They get that evil eye against their woman. But then, it's a two-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. Because we know the real dealing with Eve. Jake usually be wanting to be there for their children, but she finds a reason to get rid of them. And then use the children against them as leverage. Put them in a money-making scheme called child support. Just to spite them. So, hey, Jake is screwed up on this side because they're under the curse. But they're just wicked too. There's no structure and order within our nation. But this type of thing wouldn't have happened, So, going back here, it was just another unfortunate, tragic situation. All right, but the Lord, he does things for a reason, because ultimately it's the Lord who kills and makes alive. All right, so these women that this happened to, they weren't innocent. All right. There be spirits that are created for vengeance. So we don't know what these Eves did, but they did something. Sirach 39 and 28, it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. And that's exactly what happened in both of their cases. The young Eve in Milwaukee, and now in Monroe, Louisiana. In a time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. This is what the scriptures say. Okay? So that's pretty much what happened. It was a spirit of vengeance that got upon these Edomites. And Esau, he's a spirit of vengeance himself. All right? How could you trust Cain? He's a murderous spirit. That's just what he do. But they got close to him and they got bit. And that's real hatred right there. Esau really hates Jake. It tells you that because he never hated blood will pursue thee. Scriptures say blood is nothing in his sight, man. Let me get that in there, Ezekiel. Ezekiel 35. In verse 5, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. And just to qualify that, you read about the account dealing with the Babylonian captivity, when the Babylonians first rose up. And they conquered Egypt. They conquered Syria, and Judah was trying to join forces with Egypt, with the Egyptians, and that was a fail. And the Babylonians just came and besieged Jerusalem, took them down, ransacked the temple. But you had the Edomites that helped them. And Esau, he always got vengeance every time the moment presented itself. He was always hard bent on getting vengeance against Jacob. So that happened. And then, of course, going back to coming into this time, he managed to conquer us, of course, when he came back into power, brought us into captivity and brought us over here, took down Gad, Reuben, Issachar, the northern tribes, shed their blood over here, and then did the same to Judah. We went into slavery, hardcore bondage. And then after that, when they was allegedly emancipated, that's when the killing really started to take its course. A lot of blood spilled. So this devil, he never stops. He's always been in his element. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's an enemy, a natural born enemy. And Jake still in his day and time, in their ignorance, they still ain't figured that out. So they got to figure it out the hard way. Ultimately, the Lord's going to, get this devil. We going to get vengeance. We're going to get all our get back in the kingdom. All right, that's in Ezekiel, the 25th chapter. It says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare unto thee blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So for all the bodies that Esau got under his belt, he's still gonna pay for that. All the killings, all the murders. He got that tab that he got to pay. All right, and that's in the form of that cup that the Lord's gonna make him drink. Lamentation 4:21, it says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. You're going to be exposed. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And the scriptures say in Isaiah, the earth shall disclose her blood. So all that blood that he's accounted for, he's going to pay for it. All right. He ain't going to just get off and because some people that teach that hell doctrine, he's just going to just die and just burn in misery and hell forever. No, he going to come back and he going to serve his 1,000-year sentence. And we're going to perform the vengeance that is written. Psalms 140, the 49th chapter. So he ain't gonna get away. But right now, our people, they're being taught a lesson. All right, because our people, they're not in their right mind. They're wicked as hell. So the Lord is judging them. These incidents, these are just judgments, and this is why the Lord is to be feared, because He will raise up a wild beast, or a man that's out of his mind, or whoever, at any moment in time. So, yeah, be circumspect out there, to you few sisters that are, getting yourself together, be circumspect, and really you should be under a husband if you're not. Okay. This type of shit is going on. And Eve, she's a target right now, man. She's made a lot of enemies. Eve trying to take her out. Pookie and Ray Ray trying to take her out. She go over there to Gambia in Africa, and she's getting taken out over there too. That should tell y'all something. The Most High not finna play with Eve, man. So anyway, I'm going to end it right there. And Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. Shalom.